Stop scrolling right now because this story is one you cannot miss. Like this video, subscribe to Kdrama Drops, comment your thoughts and share this everywhere because what you are about to hear is both hilarious and heartwarming. Shen Yue has finally called out Wang for giving her the same gifts over and over again, and fans everywhere are bursting into laughter. This story is proof that even in glamorous celebrity lives the most relatable moments shine the brightest. It all began on what seemed like a normal day on set. Filming was steady. The crew worked in rhythm. Everyone expected a calm evening ahead. But hidden behind the usual routine was a surprise that none of them were ready for. Wang had been preparing another present for Shen Yue. He thought he was being sweet, thoughtful and quiet about it. What he did not realize was that he was about to walk straight into a moment fans would replay forever. Shen Yue finished her scene gracefully as always. Calm, precise, glowing with her natural charm. Dylan waited at the edge of the set, his hands behind his back. He wore that half smirk that always hints he is up to something. The crew knew that smile well. It meant trouble or fun or both. Shen Yue approached with her warm, open smile and asked what he wanted this time. Dylan stepped forward proudly and pulled out a neatly wrapped box. The wrapping paper was new. The bow was perfect. But Shen Yue looked at it and her eyebrows shot upward. She took the box gently and held it up between them, tilting it back and forth as if weighing pieces of her memory. Then in front of everyone she said it. "You are giving me this again." The set erupted into laughter before she even opened it. Dylan froze mid-grin. He blinked once. Twice. His expression shifted from victory to confusion. Shen Yue continued staring at the box and asked him if he was recycling gifts from last month, maybe even the month before that. The crew laughed so hard some had to turn away. Dylan insisted she did not know what was inside. Shen Yue replied that she could guess. She tapped the box like a detective solving a case. She said it was either a scarf, a keychain, or something involving plush animals. Dylan finally broke into a laugh but still insisted she was wrong. Shen Yue, still smiling, tugged at the ribbon slowly. The paper fell away. The box opened. And inside was exactly what she predicted. A scarf. A perfectly folded soft scarf. The moment she saw it, Shen Yue burst into laughter so hard she doubled over. The crew who had crowded around roared even louder. Dylan covered his face with both hands and groaned. This was the third scarf in a row. The exact same style. The same color family. The same attempt at warmth. Shen Yue held the scarf up dramatically and announced softly that she now had enough scarves to open a winter market. She teased him gently, asking if he had some kind of secret deal with a scarf factory. Dylan protested with exaggerated hurt. He explained that winter was coming and scarves were practical, thoughtful, useful and warm. Shen Yue raised an eyebrow and asked if he had noticed the weather the last 2 months. Someone from the crew shouted that spring was coming, not winter. Shen Yue high-fived them. Dylan surrendered, laughing at his own mistake. As the laughter settled, Shen Yue walked over to him, still holding all 3 scarves she had collected over time. She draped one around his neck and tied it loosely. She wrapped another around her arm. Then she dangled the third like a flag. She said since he kept giving her the same thing, she had decided they now belonged to both of them. The look on Dylan's face was priceless. Shock, then surrender, then pure humor. He admitted finally that he had run out of ideas and scarves were the safest gift because they fit everyone. But Shen Yue did not let it end there. She looked him directly in the eye and said, "Next time surprise me. Give me something unpredictable. It does not have to be expensive. It just cannot be scarf-shaped." Dylan agreed immediately. He crossed his heart dramatically, promising he would not bring another scarf anywhere near her. The crew applauded like they were witnessing the end of a comedy film. But the story did not end on set. Fans who later heard the story turned it into a celebration online. Memes exploded across fan pages. Edits appeared showing Shen Yue buried under mountains of scarves. Jokes flew about Dylan running a scarf business on the side. Some fans even started sending scarf suggestions for his next gift, offering colors, styles, fabrics he had not tried yet. Shen Yue herself joined in subtly. In her next public appearance she wore a simple jacket. No scarf. She smiled knowingly at the cameras and fans immediately understood the hidden message. Dylan meanwhile showed up days later wearing a scarf that looked suspiciously like one from Shen Yue's collection. Fans took screenshots of him smirking when asked about it. The dynamic between them remained playful and warm. Their arguments were never sharp. Their teasing always affectionate. And this moment became one of those rare glimpses where their personalities shined beyond their characters. In the end it became more than a joke. It became a reminder that connections are strongest in the little moments. Gifts do not need to be perfect. They need to be sincere. And sometimes love or friendship or admiration shows up in the wrong size package but the right intention. And maybe just maybe Dylan understood something deeper that day. That Shen Yue laughs hardest when she feels understood, not impressed. That gifts are not about repetition or safety but meaning. And that she notices everything even when he hopes she does not. The laughter did not fade after that scarf reveal. If anything it grew bigger, louder and more uncontrollable as word spread. But what no one expected was that the joke was only the beginning. After filming wrapped that night the story continued behind the scenes in a way that fans would not learn until much later. Shen Yue folded all 3 scarves neatly and stacked them onto Dylan's arms. She told him that since he kept buying them she trusted him to take care of them properly. Dylan stood frozen clutching what had now become a mountain of fabric while the crew cheered like they had just witnessed history. They walked toward the exit together but the teasing did not stop. A lighting assistant joked that Dylan might show up tomorrow with gloves or hats next. Someone else wondered aloud if scarves were just step 1 in a giant collection of matching winter items. Shen Yue spun around dramatically with wide eyes and asked Dylan if there was a secret warehouse somewhere filled with duplicates. Dylan raised his hand and swore that was not the case. And then immediately ruined his own defense by admitting quietly that he had already bought something else and it might possibly maybe match the scarf theme a little. Shen Yue gasped loudly and declared that she refused to accept anything that wrapped around the neck from that point onward. When they finally stepped outside the night breeze hit them with full icy force. Shen Yue shivered a little and rubbed her arms. Dylan without thinking reached into his bag and pulled out yet another scarf. Not wrapped. Not boxed. Just there in his bag like proof of guilt. The moment she saw it Shen Yue stared at him in disbelief before bursting into laughter so loud it echoed across the empty parking lot. She refused to take it. He insisted. She refused harder. Finally she snatched it from him, wrapped it around his neck herself and said since he was the one obsessed with scarves maybe he should keep this one warm. Dylan stopped arguing and let it sit there. It suited him more than he wanted to admit. Over the next week the story kept evolving like a running joke that refused to end. Crew members started placing random scarves around set. One was hanging on a light pole. One was tied to a chair. Another was wrapped around a microphone boom pole like a fashion statement. Someone taped a sign to one that said the Dylan collection. Shen Yue nearly cried laughing when she found it. At lunch one day Dylan sat across from her sipping soup quietly pretending the entire universe was not mocking him. Shen Yue leaned over the table and gently asked what gift number 4 would be. He nearly choked. He said she ruined the surprise but she argued he had ruined the pattern so they were even. That only made him laugh harder. What happened next turned everything from funny into unforgettable. Shen Yue took matters into her own hands. She decided if Dylan was going to give repeat gifts she would show him how variety worked. The following day she walked into the makeup room holding a small bag. She approached Dylan casually and placed it in front of him. He looked confused. He opened it slowly. Inside were 3 items. A simple bracelet. A pack of cookies. A tiny handwritten note. The note read, "For when you are cold, hungry or out of gift ideas." Dylan stared at it for a long moment before saying softly that it was the greatest gift he had received all year. Shen Yue grinned and said that was because she did not buy him a scarf. What happened after that is what melted fans completely. Dylan stood up, reached into his coat pocket and pulled out something she did not expect. A tiny crumpled piece of paper. He looked nervous for the first time since the scarf disaster. Shen Yue opened it. It was a hand-drawn doodle of her wrapped in scarves from head to toe with a speech bubble saying no more. Dylan explained he had drawn it the night she teased him just to remember to try harder next time. Shen Yue pressed the paper to her chest and said she was keeping it forever. The crew watching from nearby swore they saw Dylan blush just a little. From that day forward new gifts began to appear. No more scarves. Not even once. Sometimes a notebook. Sometimes a snack. Sometimes nothing at all except a thoughtful moment or a joke shared quietly when no one else was watching. Fans finally learned about the scarf saga weeks later and exploded with laughter. They understood immediately that this was not just comedy. This was connection in its simplest form. A reminder that honesty can be playful. That comfort creates freedom. That people show affection in their own clumsy, imperfect, ridiculous ways. And maybe that is why Shen Yue never looked annoyed. She had no reason to be. Dylan was trying even when he failed. The story ends like this. One evening long after filming wrapped, Shen Yue walked into the building wearing something unfamiliar. It was a scarf. But not like the others. It was bright, bold, colorful and handmade. Crew members stared. Shen Yue smiled. She explained Dylan had given it to her days earlier. He had made it himself. It was uneven. Stitches crooked. Threads imperfect. But it was hers. And that scarf was the one she would treasure the most. If you loved this continuation, if it made you smile or warmed your heart, then like this video, subscribe to Kdrama Drops, comment your favorite moment and share with fans everywhere. Because sometimes ridiculous gifts lead to meaningful memories. And sometimes love looks like a scarf you stitched yourself.